to possibly the most ridiculous TBR I've ever put together for a ridiculous reading challenge that I'm going to be putting myself through in April. Come along for the ride. Realise how completely realistic I'm being as I try and have an incredible reading month in April. So, April last year I completed 30 books in 30 days, and April this year I would very much like to do the same thing. My life circumstances are now very different, so I don't know what that's going to mean for this, but I'm gonna give it my best shot at doing 30 books in 30 days in April, which means I have an enormous TBR laid out behind me, and it's not even 30 books. I've just selected some books. I think there's maybe like 20 here that I would like to get to, but this TBR is the most loose TBR ever. I might not read anything from here. I doubt that, but I might not read anything from here and I might just mood read an entirely different 30 books. But at this point, we are a few days off the end of March, so we're a few days off April. That's a better way of saying that. We're a few days away from this challenge beginning. These are the ones that I'm in the mood for. Some of these are little, some of these are not little. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm going to give it my best shot. So let's go through what some of those books are. First up on my list is Sunbringer by Hannah Kaner. This is the sequel to Godkiller. I actually want to reread Godkiller, so I may do that before this. I may not. We'll see how I feel. I remember a fair bit from Godkiller, but because Godkiller's so little, I might just reread it. I don't know. But yeah, this is the sequel to that. This is set in a world where killing gods is allowed. The king has said, A-okay, you can do that. Our main character is a god killer, and in the first book there is a particular little god that she hasn't been able to kill, and there's lots of other political goings on as well. Our main character, Kissen, has a history of a relationship with the gods, and that's why her feelings towards them are so strong and what led her down the path of becoming a god killer. And this is book 2 in that. I cannot exactly remember how Godkiller ends, which is why I think I might reread it. Like, I remember the gist of the story, but I think a reread of Godkiller may be on the cards, which, you know, just adds another book to this TBR, but not officially. Book number 2 on this list is one that I should have read in March. My reading month for March has been terrible. My March TBR did not happen. I just was slumping really hard for the first 20 days of March. I barely read a thing. So please forgive me for that and for the fact that a few of these books you will have already seen. But Play of Shadows by Sebastien de Castell, I didn't get to this one in March. I'm not going to before the beginning of April, so this is one that I would definitely like to get to in April. ASAP. I don't think this will take me too long to read because it's Sebastien de Castell. I love his writing style. I do think I will just gobble this up, but I haven't got there yet. This is the first book in the Court of Shadows series. However, Crucible of Chaos is the prequel to that, and if you haven't read the Greatcoat series prior to that, then it's all connected, all in the same world, kind of chronologically. This one follows Damalus, who is the grandchild of a greatcoat, I believe, but rather than dueling and all of that greatcoat stuff, he finds a home on the stage, but he accidentally summons the spirit of a really famous murderer and accidentally uncovers some secrets that may spark a rebellion. So it sounds like a lot of accidental chaos, and half the city plotting to kill Damalus for causing all of the chaos. Sounds like it could be a fun time, but it's Sebastien de Castell, so of course it will be, so need to get to that one. And on the topic of Sebastien de Castell, I do also still need to read Saint's Blood, which was actually my March Patreon buddy read, but our live show for this isn't until a week into April, so I have a bit of time to read this still as well. I will probably immersion read this because I've been audiobooking them all. I've never audiobooked them before, and I am enjoying that experience, adding a little bit of difference to my reread on this one. But this is book 3 in the Greatcoats. You know I love it. I talk about it a lot. I still need to read it. Hopefully, with the help of the audiobook, this one shouldn't take too long, but we'll see. Already, this TBR is bigger than what I've read in March. Next up, let's put some little ones on there. I have got 10 things you should know about time, 10 things you should know about the deep sea, and 10 things you should know about trees. These are all from the same little collection, the 7 Dials collection, and I've read the ones that are on space and dinosaurs. So 10 things you should know about space and 10 things you should know about dinosaurs. I read those, I think, in April last year, actually. So I know that they're good for a quick read. They are diddy little things. Beautiful books as well, with all that foiling. But yeah, very, very little. But I really enjoyed the space one and the dinosaur one. And for something so little, it really gives like a good bit of knowledge. And I think these topics sound like fun. The time one is probably gonna mess up my brain. Something rotten. Trees. Curious, and the deep sea fascinates me and scares me, so these should be a good time, and hopefully quick reads as well. We shall see. Another quick one that I hope to get to is A Prayer for the Crown Shy. That's the sequel. That's not right. The one I want to read is Psalm for the Wild Built. Bear with me. Next up on the list is Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. I have not had much success with Becky Chambers in the past. I DNF'd The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I have heard that this is quite different though, so I hope to enjoy it a bit more. It's little, so even if I don't, I'll still get through it and it'll be another book on 30 and 30. For that reason, I haven't put A Prayer for the Crown Shy on this TBR in case I don't love this, but if I do, then I will probably read this as well. Another one that could be a contender for April is Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry. This is the sequel to Legends and Lattes, which is a cozy fantasy about a coffee shop. And is she an orc? Is she an orc that's like retired to start a coffee shop? I can't quite remember, but the sequel to that, cozy fantasy, high vibes, low stakes, good time, relaxing. Could be exactly what I need. Look at that. Oh, could be exactly what I need in amongst all of my other higher stakes books that I have picked up. Does this follow the same characters? It does. Is this a prequel? I don't know. This could be a prequel, not a sequel. I actually have no idea, but I will read it and find out. But I think it's a good shout for April, so it's on the list. I have also been convinced to put The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman on this list. I enjoy Neil Gaiman. I've read a few books from him, have liked what I have read. Something about this intimidates me, and I think it's the fact that it's got absolutely raving reviews. Everyone seems to love this. That scares me a little bit. So this is going on the TBR. It's a little bit different from the fantasy. Is it still fantasy? I don't know. I don't want to know. And this is the illustrated version as well. Edition. So it should be quite quick to get through in terms of physically reading, because a lot of the pages are illustrations. But I have heard fantastic things about this. I know so many people absolutely adore it. That scares me, but I'm gonna give it a go. Maybe. We'll see how April actually goes. Throwing some middle grade in here as well. Merm Medusa by Thomas Taylor. This is the fifth book in the Eerie on Sea Mysteries series, which follows Herbert Lemon and Violet Palmer. Herbert Lemon is a lost and founder at the Grand Nautilus Hotel, and throughout all of these books, he and his best friend Violet find these mysteries that need solving, whether they be mysterious creatures, mysterious people, mysterious happenings. And this one probably has something to do with mermaids or Medusa, who knows? But they're quick, they're fun, I've enjoyed the series so far, so hopefully a quick win in this one. I am also putting The River of Silver by Shannon Chakraborty on here. This is the short story collection from David Bad, Tales from the David Bad trilogy. I don't know how many stories are actually in here. A few. There's a few. Bit of a list there. This is one that I very often forget that I haven't read because it sits on my favourite shelf with my Jadeyraereads trilogy that I adored but have completed. It sits with those. I forget that I haven't actually read this yet. And with it being short stories, hopefully something that I can just chip away at alongside reading other things. Hopefully a quick win. I love this world. I love the writing of Shannon Chakraborty. It's beautiful, and I'm actually really looking forward to diving back into the world of Jadeyraereads. It's been a while, but I remember how much I loved it and just how comforting I found that world. Looking forward to this, if I remember that it exists. Next up I have Dead Astronauts by Jeff Vandermeer. This is the next book in the Born series. I think it's a series, I'm not entirely sure, but I read Born and Strange Bird, early last year, and kept meaning to get round to Dead Astronauts and didn't, so it's about time I do that. The Dead Astronauts do show up in Born. I don't know if these are the same Dead Astronauts, I don't know. If you are unfamiliar with Jeff Vandermeer, it's very like speculative sci-fi thriller-ish, weird, no real answers to anything ever, but just mucks up your head a little bit. And I love that vibe. I have loved everything I have read. I have liked everything I have read from Jeff Vandermeer. The Southern Reach trilogy, my favourite from him. I enjoyed Born, I enjoyed Strange Bird. Hummingbird Salamander was a bit meh. But I'm excited to get into this, hopefully carrying on those vibes from Born and Strange Bird. In a city with no name of its own, in the shadow of the company, lives human and otherwise, blah 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 blah. 3 rebels make their way through forces that would consume them. I'm assuming these are the 3 rebels. They probably die. I decided that this TBR needed some book box books, so I picked the littlest one of them, and that is 7 Faceless Saints by M.K. Lobb. This came in a fairy loot. It is teeny tiny, not only in length but also in size for a hardback. This book is really little. I know nothing about it. I'm not going to learn anything about it. I'm just going to dive in and hope for the best and see what happens. I haven't heard much about this. I do not enjoy the cover of this, but we will see what happens. It's on the list. Now the books start to get stacked weirdly. You can't see this down here, but they're about to get stacked weirdly. Next on the list is Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. This is weird sci-fi, I think. I have heard that it's kind of like a mind-boggling sort of one, reflection on humanity sort of thing, but also just really weird. I don't know how true that is. I will find out though. This, again, little, should hopefully be a quick win, but I'm really banking on those weird vibes. Something about April and the idea of reading a lot of books also makes me want to reach out into some of my lesser read genres, and my main other genre that is still loved but lesser read is just the all-encompassing weird, and I'm hoping that's where this fits. As a child, Natsuki believed she was an alien. Now she's pretending to be normal. What will it take to escape the Earthlings? I don't know. Hopefully it's weird. Am I right in thinking I've also heard people say that it's like horrifyingly weird? Am I thinking of the wrong book? I don't know. We'll see when I read it. The vibe of this whole TBR is, I don't know, but we'll find out when I read it. Next up is probably the stupidest decision on this TBR because it's massive. But I want to read The Kingdom of Liars, and I have it on good authority from Alicia that I'm gonna love this, and therefore it needs to be on the TBR. I will love it, so I will read it quickly, and then I will probably just read the rest of the series. Seems unlikely, but how much she's told me I will love it, and I just need to read it. Maybe I could do it. Maybe this will be one that I like challenge myself on a day where I've got nothing else to do to read in 24 hours, like a challenge within a challenge, because I'm probably going to need a lot of like little 24-hour readathons to get through this challenge. Maybe I'll have to do that with this, I don't know, but political fantasy. Is there an empire in turmoil? Probably. Michael was branded a traitor. Oh, his family exiled. Oh my god, David murdered the king's son. Secrets, rebellion, and murder. The kingdom's traitor holds the truth. Yeah, very buzzwordy, up my street. I think I'll love it when I get to it, but the size does scare me just a tad. It wouldn't scare me usually, but in April when I'm trying to do something ridiculous, it kind of does. Oh, next up is, a little one to balance that out, but the Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. I picked this one up a while back. I started reading it in the bookshop and was hooked, so bought it, and then never continued. I got 16 pages in, but I was intrigued enough to want it, and I got it, and I need to read it. I've heard good things about it. Our main character, I believe, is made redundant or loses his job or something, and ends up working for, like, Uber Eats, and gets this job offer to work for the KPS. I was going to say KJP, that's definitely not right. The KPS. And he just takes it without really knowing what it is. And it is the preservation of these dinosaurs. An animal rights organisation in an alternate dimension with massive dinosaur-like creatures. They need support to survive. And the Kaiju Preservation Society wants to help. Ooh. This is a mess. Next up is a reread, Justice of Kings by Richard Swan. I have the audiobook for this and I would like to reread it. Because it's a reread, I feel like I can just stick the audiobook on whilst I do other mundane tasks, and in order to get through April, I'm probably going to need to do that a fair bit. So this one, there's a lot I can't remember about this, which is why I'm definitely going to give it a reread before I dive into The Tyranny of Faith, but I think when I'm listening to it, a lot will come back to me as well, so I'm comfortable to just listen without reading at the same time, and I think that will help me out, jog my memory, get another book done. Like 3 birds with 1 stone there. I remember loving this, so I'm excited to hopefully love it again. Again, buzzwordy. The Empire simmers with unrest, rebels, heretics, blah 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 blah. The Order of Justices stands in the way of chaos. Sir Conrad is the most feared justice of all, upholding the law. They unearth conspiracy which stretches to the very top of imperial society. And as the stakes rise and become more personal, they have to make a choice. Will they abandon the laws they've sworn to uphold in order to protect the Empire? Woo. Very buzzwordy for me, but definitely in need of a reread on that one. Next up, throw in another non-fiction in here, we have The End of Everything by Katie Mack. This is 5 theories on the end of the world, or the end of the world, the end of everything. The Big Crunch, the Heat Death, the Big Rip, Vacuum, Decay, and Bounce. And then The Future of the Future, The Big Bang to Now, Introduction to the Cosmos. I am kind of into the astrophysics books. I like that sort of stuff. It intrigues me, makes my brain feel absolutely minuscule, but I enjoy that. So I am excited to read this and get through those theories. I did start this one last year, didn't get through it. Will this year. Will get through this and come out, I won't say educated, because it's probably just gonna absolutely go above my head, but I will come back fascinated by the end of the universe. Blows my mind. My tiny little mind. We're nearly there. The Hand of the Sun King by J.T. Greathouse. Something about this is calling to me. I couldn't tell you what. I don't know why, but I want to read this. I've got it on my Kindle as well because it was on like a 99p offer. So nice to have a Kindle book on the TBR to chip away at in other locations. I'm gonna need to like take in all the different reading methods all the time in order to get this challenge completed. Do we actually think I'm going to do it? I'm going to try, but all my life I've been torn between 2 legacies, that of my father, whose roots trace back to the right hand of the Emperor, and that of my mother's family, who reject the oppressive empire and embrace resistance. I can choose between them, between protecting my family or protecting my people, or I can search out a better path, a magical path, filled with secrets, unbound by empire or resistance, which could shake my world to its very foundation. This sounds so good. I'm really excited about this. That's why it's calling to me, I think. I'm really excited about reading this one, so it's on the list. Another middle grade to spice it up a little bit. Spellstoppers by Kat Gray. Something about this cover just called to me when I was looking at my middle grade shelves, thinking, need some more middle grade to break it up. I'd already got one from a series that I know and love. Picking up something new, but the cover just called me. I don't know anything about this. Max is cursed. If he touches anything electrical, it explodes. Turns out he's a spell stopper with the rare ability to drain dangerous build-ups of magic and fix misbehaving enchanted items. This sounds like fun. And the audiobook for this one is on Everand as well, so I will get my mitts on that to help me speed through it. Not like speed through it, I do actually want to take it in, but you know, read it at relative pace. And then I believe this is the last one on my list. And it's another stupid choice, but Sons of Darkness. This is another one that is just calling me. I downloaded the audiobook of this one a few months back and started listening to it and was like, whoa, no, I need to immersion read this. It was one that I tried to listen to on its own and it just wasn't going to happen. I need to listen and read along in order for me to take this one in, I think. I cannot remember anything about it. Again, there's an empire, there's a republic, and it simmers on the brink of oblivion. Buzzwords. The senator and his third wife have put plans in motion within the Republic's blood-soaked borders to protect it from total annihilation. They're soon to discover that neither gold nor alliances last forever, and that they are not the only players on the board. Ooh. A pirate princess has decided to mend her ways and become a good wife, but old habits die hard, especially when one habitually uses murder to settle scores. Brooding and beautiful Kana hopes to bury his brutal past, so many B's there, but finds that Destiny, is a miser when it comes to granting second chances. I love Destiny. Hero turned torturer. What is up with all these characters? These all sound incredible. Limps through a path of daggers, meanwhile his foes and woes multiply. I really like how this blurb is written, actually. This intrigues me a lot, but it is one that I think is going to be a lot, so I need to immersion read this, audio and physical at the same time. I have clearly lost my mind if I think I'm going to actually get through these books. But that is my current April TBR. How long have we been here? Too long, yeah? Too long. How many books actually is that? 21. That's 21. So if I do get through all of those, I still need 9 more. And if I don't, I need to find 30 others. The likelihood is it will be mix and match between books I've mentioned here that I am in the mood for at this moment and ones that maybe become more realistically attainable. I don't know. We'll just see what happens. But the gist of it is, in April, I am looking to tackle 30 books in 30 days. A few of my patrons are joining me on the challenge. I'm hoping to do a load of Patreon sprints throughout the month to help us along that journey. We've got like a little support group going on for it. So if you want to join us on that, feel free. It's going to be a fun time. Wild ride. Come along. But yeah, place your bets now if you think I'm going to manage it. Place your bets now of these 21, how many you think I'm actually going to finish. Bear in mind of my March TBR, of the books I told you I was going to read, I read 1. So do you have any faith in me? Because I have very little faith in myself, but I'm going to try my best. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this up now because I've been chatting and rambling on at you for far too long. But I hope you've enjoyed basking in my delusion for a little while. Wish me luck, and I will see you throughout April with updates on how this is going, because of course I'm gonna vlog the process, so I'll see you in those, or whatever else comes next. Bye!